Court does call the case of the People versus Demorio Fel.
Alexander, on behalf of the people, Your Honor.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Pate with and on behalf of Mr. Fel, who stands to my right. Please state your name for the record, sir.
Demorio Fel. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. As to the case, we respectfully request to set it for final settlement conference and then to address bond when appropriate.
Jury final settlement conference will be June 6, 2025, 9 a.m. Jury selection, if necessary, June 9th, 2025, 8:30. Both of those proceedings are in person. Esteban.
Thank you, Your Honor. It is my understanding that Mr. Fel's bond is...
Esteban.
Thank you, Your Honor. It is my understanding that Mr. Fel's bond is currently denied due to an alleged bond violation and then his subsequent failure to turn himself in on that warrant as ordered by the court back in 2023, I believe was the year. As to the bond violation, he does admit to that and is asking the court to consider releasing him pending his final settlement conference. He does state that he did leave the state of Michigan, where he was originally from, to go to Georgia during one of the prior bond violations. He has provided me with an updated address in Ypsilanti, Michigan, where he currently stays with a family friend. The complaining witness does not reside there. He is willing to go on tether or comply with any other terms as ordered by the court. He's asking for release today on a PR bond. My client states to me that he came into custody on the warrant during a traffic stop for lights, and to my understanding, no new charges stem from that police activity. To my understanding, his only current Washtenaw County matter is a license case. We do acknowledge that there is a hold out of Livonia, however. He does also have a potential job that he is currently in the onboarding process for in Wixom at Purin doing assembly of car exhausts. He does have a 4-year-old daughter, and he is now local to court. We are asking the court to consider his release pending the final settlement conference.
But he was... It was almost 2 years?
Yes, Your Honor.
Response.
I would object to any modification of bond. First, he failed to appear back in April of 2023. At the time of that, there was a couple bond concerns in which he had gone to Georgia without permission, violating his bond, and the victim had also informed us he'd been contacting her since his release from jail. That didn't get a chance to get addressed because he failed to appear back in 2023. I also have concerns as to this case, and our office is going to be looking into is why it wasn't charged as a felony strangulation given the facts in the police report. And I just have concerns that he failed to appear back in 2023 and had to be picked up for this case to come back around. So I would object to any modification of bond at this time.
Anything else?
Just very briefly, Your Honor, the only thing I would state as to that is that Mr. Fel came back to the Michigan area last month, he states to me. One of his reasons was he wanted to take care of this matter. That being said, he was picked up on a traffic stop. And I would just ask that he be released pending the final settlement conference or final settlement.
It doesn't necessarily make any sense. If he came back to take care of it, he could have turned himself in at any given point. He didn't do so. He had to be picked up.
I understand, Your Honor.
2 years later. Motion for bond reduction denied. Bond will continue as denied.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you so much.
Sherry.
Oh, yeah. No, okay. Okay. Yes, sir. Your name?
Josh Bush.
All right.
Mr. Sherry is before the court for a violation of probation hearing. Mr. Sherry is in violation of the terms of his probation in this case, in that there was use of assaultive, threatening, and intimidating behavior. That behavior happened on August 16th of 2024. There was a police report that was provided to my office, public safety, and also an audio that was part of that incident. I can tell the court that there were no charges that were authorized as a result of that incident. However, the audio was shared with this court, and the threats that were made in that audio were quite they certainly were threatening and intimidating. in nature. This court at that time did issue a bench warrant with the bond set at $50,000 cash or surety. The warrant has been out. Mr. Sherry did continue to report to probation. I did have a conversation with him at length about his behavior during that audio. And he did surrender himself to the jail on November 11th. Given also, Your Honor, I did receive some documentation from Mr. Ellman with some backstory as to the relationship between individuals regarding that other incident. However, at the end of the day, Mr. Sherry is responsible for his own behaviors. That was a conversation that I had with him. Probation is asking at this time that Mr. Sherry be sentenced to 5 days in jail, credit for 3 days that he has served for violations to date, that the court extend the prosecutor deferred for a period of 9 months, that he pay an additional $270 probation oversight fees, that he complete the anger habits program, which is a more extensive anger management program. I would ask that he enroll within that program within 30 days, that he continue all other terms that was ordered by this court, that the court schedule a review hearing for August 13th of 2025 at 9 a.m., and that the court provide a warning about any further violations of his probation in this case.
Mr. Ellman.
Your Honor, I was actually going to ask if we could approach to discuss all this, if that's possible.
Why?
I just like talking to you, Judge. But Your Honor, I appreciate probation's recommendation. I guess this is a little bit why I wanted to approach the paperwork that I provided. Ms. Polera provides a long history between Mr. Sherry and the individual who this language was directed towards. They have a child in common. This was a custody exchange. I know the court heard the audio.
Oh, I did.
I do not make any excuses for the audio. However, to my belief, there were things said prior to when the recording started that, to be frank, pushed Mr. Sherry's buttons in regards to his ability to parent his child, and threats to essentially abscond with his child, which do not forgive his language, Your Honor, but I'm just trying to provide some picture as to the whole story here. And so there is a long and frustrating history there that I think unfortunately puts Mr. Sherry to this point where he used that language. In terms of the jail recommendation, Your Honor, Mr. Sherry's been in custody for 3 days. He is a sole provider to his family. He has a 14-month-old child at home. And frankly, Your Honor, I think the community would be better served if instead of 2 additional days in custody, Mr. Sherry were to be ordered to do community service or something of the like, as opposed to more time in custody. I think through these 3 days that he served, he has realized, which he knew before, but has much more realized the severity of his language, his actions, and the effect that can have on himself, his family, and those around.
Sir, anything you want to say?
Yes, Your Honor. Bruce, I apologize to you. I'm glad I got to call and at least kind of explain. I know that doesn't justify anything, and the situation isn't black and white. That doesn't justify any of the words that I use or the things that I said, 100%. I messed up. I can take full responsibility for that. That was a terrible thing. I've made it 41 years of my life without having any mistakes like this, but I've got an 11-year-old with a ex that has constantly been threatening me for years. And I've done a really good job of just brushing it off and not saying anything back. And I had a mental moment and I lost it. And again, does not justify anything that I said. It was terrible, terrible. And I'm in therapy trying to work on myself and get better for my family and for these situations. I mean, I still have to parent, you know, that my work still goes forward as far as being a parent. With that said, I do, you know, I've got a 14-month-old at home, and my wife is, you know, already pointed at me. I'm losing time with my kids. I'm not this. I'm not a bad person. I know that I've got work to do, and I've been in therapy for the last 6 months getting help, and I'm trying to get to the root of some of the issues. I'm not an angry person, but I've got some anger built up. I've got my dad taught me lessons in different ways. He died when I was young, but he was an alcoholic. He used to put cigarettes out on me when he was trying to teach me lessons. I still have at least 6 burn marks on my body. But those are things that I've been bottling down and pushing aside and for years, until I've been talking to this therapist, and she's just saying, like, you know, you got to get things out, but it's been difficult for me. So I'm not an angry person. I hit my boiling point, and that's not okay. But my goal is really to get better so that never happens again. And again, I've made it 41 years without doing anything like that. And I would also ask if I could go home to my family. I'll do community service for as long as you want. I'll do probation as long as you want. I guarantee you, and I'm sure you hear this a lot from people, but I will never be back here, and I'll never make that mistake again. I don't have priors. I'm not a flight risk. I turned myself in. I'm trying to do the right things. I know I messed up. I'm an idiot. I can own up to that. The last 3 days here has been the hardest 3 days of my life. I'll take 6 more cigarette burns on my body than stay in that holding cell. Like, I'm not lying when I say, like, I've learned my lesson. I mean, I knew the day that I walked away from that and where I lost my cool, I knew that I messed up then. And I've had anxiety, and, you know, I'm an overthinker. I try to reevaluate the situations I do and how to fix it. And I'm not BSing you. I've started 2 companies since, you know, having a father that passed away and no role models. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I made them the hard way. And again, I'm really working. Like, I'm not messing with you. I'm not lying. You know, there's a reason you haven't seen me in here. I don't break the law. I don't have any DUIs or drug things. I messed up. I know I messed up, but the only way I can get better is by continuing to do the work. I mean, I've got therapy tomorrow if I can get there, but I understand where Teresa's coming to. I know she has a job to do and recommendations, and you as well. I'm guessing you have a really good way to, like, judge people by their character. And I'm begging you to let me go home to my family and get the work done, and you will never see me here again in this light.
Okay, that's good. Good job. Tell you what. You're kind of a little bit of an enigma, because the person I'm hearing now and the person I saw in that video and the person I saw before, it's all just different. That was not a good person on that video.
No,
Just not at all.
I,
So I will just tell you this. Maybe one of the things that can help you in terms of trying to deal with that is take a breath. And whenever you're responding, it doesn't matter to who, but whenever you're responding, respond in a way as though you believe that your kids are watching.
I'm failing them. I'm honestly like, even I've got my daughter has special needs, and that's what it's so emotional.
And that's where you've got to be strong and not have that emotion.
You're right.
I know I'm right.
You are. I'm not denying it. It's my fault.
I'll extend the defendant's prosecutor deferred status for a period of 9 months. You're to pay an additional $270 probation oversight fees. When can you get that done?
As soon as you let me out. I'll pay it right now if you'll seriously just let me.
Sir, stop talking.
Sorry.
Pay it by November 22nd, 2024. You're to complete the anger habits program. You're to enroll in that program within 30 days. I will continue all other previous terms as ordered. I'll set a review hearing August 13th, 2025, 9 a.m. I'm not going to accept any other further violations. That was a horrible, disgusting thing I had to watch, and the things that you said and the things that you just spewed from your mouth. If I see anything remotely approaching that, you might as well just resign yourself to the fact that I'm just going to throw you in. I'm not even going to be dealing with you.
Yes, sir. It'll never happen.
So I will also say that I'm not letting you out because you begged. I'm letting you out because of what Mr. Ellman said to me. Because quite frankly, when you were getting here, I was surprised by the recommendation because I would give you more time. So you better thank those people for you getting to go home. But I'll go with what Mr. Ellman says. I'm not going to order any other additional community service. I'd rather work with his kids and his family and get that right. 3 days Washington County Jail. Credit 3 days, sir.
Sir.
All right.
Can he call me out?
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a great day.
You too. Court does call the case. People versus Julia Martinez.
Caitlin Kirby on behalf of the people.
And Edward Drukas for Devin Martinez. Your Honor, today's a time and date set for a pretrial. We had been adjourning it to find out whether she'd get into mental health court. She has been accepted into mental health court. They're just waiting on CMH to interview her. She
Okay.
does have a PCC in front of you tomorrow. I think we're coming to the end of this resolution. We're just looking for an adjournment.
Is CMH going to be able to get to her soon within the next couple of weeks?
I would think that I think it's going to happen pretty quick. I talked to Kalina
Okay.
Anderson yesterday. We may know more by the probable cause conference, which is set for tomorrow.
Which is tomorrow. Okay, then I'll adjourn this one out. May 3rd, 2023, 9 a.m. And then we'll have that other one follow or however we have to do this. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bond continue. Thank you.
Edward?
Miss Martinez, I'll be speaking to Miss Miss Anderson and coming to see you.
Yeah, I was hoping to get the tether.
Okay, we're going to be working on that, but we got to work with the mental health court with that. So I don't want to hold up the court's time. I'll come and see you. Thank you.
Too late.
Tomorrow it would be tethered.
Okay,
Okay, cool.
we're gone.
Okay.
Court calls the case. People first.